Alright. World's most powerful slingshot. It better be like Bart Simpson's slingshot where you can just shoot people out of the fucking sky. Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Do you think it's a really powerful slingshot? You'd be surprised.
Oh my god!
I definitely was. I'm talking about slingshots that generate more momentum than a 45 caliber
Imagine that goes through your head. I don't think you're gonna survive that.
firearm. And I'm not even saying that to be over dramatic. They actually tested it. And finding that out made me pretty upset. Because a few weeks ago, I made a video testing a bunch of slingshots, trying to find out how dangerous they are. And well, I used to love that video. And now I don't. Because it's completely inaccurate. All the slingshots I tested in that video are simply toys compared to the really powerful ones.
Well, yeah, no way. The bigger it is, the more it's gonna hurt. Duh.
And so, to redeem myself and actually answer the question, well, I'm gonna try
Look
to
at him, he's wearing a bulletproof vest! He's wearing a Kevlar vest!
build one of the most powerful slingshots on the planet.
Wow,
a slingshot
shut the
capable
wow.
of ending anything in front of it and behind of it. Compare it to the
Wait, he dodged that!
best slingshot of the previous video, and then see what happens when I test it against a ballistic dummy. This
Yeah,
is
it's
the
more like
prototype
an
I made for my
arbalest.
custom slingshot, and I'm gonna explain the features of each component as I build them.
Matrix
Starting
that
from the
shit.
fork. This is where I'm gonna attach multiple elastic bands and throw massive steel balls with them. And so it needs to be really tough.
Balls
If while
of
pulling the
steel,
bands, one of these two pieces broke, it will fly towards me like a bullet, and that, my friend, might be the end of the video. And the channel. Sorry, Mom.
Don't do dangerous stuff! Of course, Mom, don't worry. Mamma. Non fare cose pericolose. Certo ceno mamma non preoccuparti. I don't know how to speak that language, but I'm trying.
Well, to avoid that, I made a sandwich of
mom is so
materials that I'm
cute.
gonna glue together to create the elements of the slingshot. The sandwich has a strong core to make it tough, and for that, I could have used aluminum, hardwood, or even steel. But I got a lot of polycarbonate laying around from a previous video, and since it's an incredibly tough
Polycarbonate.
material, I decided to go with this one. Then I prepared a few thin sheets of wood and also red acrylic to place on top of the polycarbonate. These are mainly there for aesthetic reasons, and the effect I would like to obtain is something like this. Aim for the stars, they said. Anyways, to glue the layers together, I'm gonna use epoxy, which should work with all the layers of the sandwich. But just to be
Should.
extra safe, I'm also sanding the surfaces of polycarbonate and acrylic so that the glue can form a stronger bond with them. So
Guys, just so you know the lore behind this guy, I'm pretty sure his dad loves to do this kind of stuff too. Not like this dangerous stuff, but they apparently, his family, like his dad specifically, loves building.
I'm pouring the two components of
They're
the glue into
cool.
a cup. I mix them together for a while,
Looks like I'm cooking or something.
and then I'm
Oh my god, that scared me! Wait!
cup. I mix them together for a while,
Looks like I'm
That scared me. I actually was like, what the hell is that behind him?
cooking or something.
Oh.
and then I'm spreading
get
it
it.
evenly on each surface of the layers. The problem is that I used
Jesse!
way too much epoxy, and now the
time to
layers
cook.
keep sliding on each others. So now I'm panicking while trying to clamp everything down, worrying the layers are gonna get stuck in the wrong position and I'll have to throw everything away and it's another day starting from scratch. But it ended up working.
And I gotta wait.
Look how many clampers he's got! Oh my
3
lord!
days. It's been 3 days. I'm gonna remove the clamps and see if it actually worked.
Had a few doubts about this. One, are the clamps even gonna come out? And yes, they do. Kind of. Two, did the epoxy dry and are the layers fixed in place? Also yes, it feels pretty solid. And
It
three,
looks
how strong is the
clean.
connection between the layers? Well, either the resin is really strong, or I am really weak, but the reality is that there is not an answer for this one right now. I just gotta hope for the best and see what happens when I test it. The next
Man, and he's the one testing it too. He doesn't have like machines that does it for him.
step is cropping the shape of fork, handle, and arm brace out of the sandwich block. To do that, I'm using a bandsaw, and after the first cut, I'm happy to see that there is no gap between the layers, which is definitely a good sign. And so I'm trying to cut all the elements, following their shapes as best as I can.
Wow.
And it took me about 40 minutes, but here they
Pacienza.
are. fork, handle, and arm brace, or at least the raw shape of them. Now I'm gonna use the belt grinder to smooth out the edges and the surfaces, starting with the fork. Right now it's definitely thick, but the idea is to grind it in a way that's gonna make the pattern come out. The problem is that I massively underestimated this step, and massively overestimated my skills, and after 30 minutes of absolute random grinding... Alright.
Oh no, I just saw it on the table. It doesn't look too hot.
I completely messed up. Like...
I was about to say, that looks like not very good. I remember I wanted to do something very similar to this. Maybe like, no, not one for one, but it was a sandwich for a wood cutting project, and I tried to sand it down, and it looked really scuffed because I didn't, like, I don't have the skill to, like, make it all even. It's really ugly. It kind of looks like my project. I still got an A+, though. I tried.
It doesn't look bad. It's just modern art and you don't understand it. I'm joking. So I'm gonna make a simpler and better one. The good news is that with a spare fork, I can test how tough it is.
Ooh. Ooh. He should clamp it down and then smash it.
It's perfect.
So I prepared new layers, glued them with epoxy, weighted, cropped, smoothed the edges, grinded, being extra careful to not mess it up again. And now I'm back to where I stopped. Next, I'm using this fascinating machine to smooth the edges, and honestly, I started to get pretty excited. And this is how the fork looks now.
That is nice!
Now I need to sand it, then polish.
Only men can be very proud of what they make with their hands, man. That last guy with the gun, and now this guy's like, I'm so proud of myself. I made a little slingshot.
To make the wood shiny and the polycarbonate transparent.
And then I'm gonna do the handle and the arm brace basically the same way.
I didn't even finish the fork, and I'm already thinking about when this thing is gonna be done and when I'm gonna be able to test it. Before that though, I need to sand it. And I already know sanding is gonna take a while. I need to go from a 2200 grit sandpaper to 1000 grit sandpaper. So I'm gonna just skip this process. But while my slightly younger self suffers for the next 5 hours, I want to thank this plate for supporting this project. And yes, that thing moves. I just finished the workshop and I wanted to personalize it a little bit. So I picked a few posters and they just arrived. And they looked good from their website, but seeing them in person, it actually got me excited.
This is insane.
That is kind of insane. It's called an illusion, chat. It's not actually moving. I paused the video! Wow, it's moving, chat, but not actually.
It's so cool. Spiral. I used to play
No way. This guy plays Spiral. Wow.
this with my sister on our PS1
Spiral.
when we were kids. She's about to have a baby now. I love it.
The posters feel high quality and sturdy.
Let me try to zoom in.
And the clarity on the images is really good. Displate also just launched a new product called Displate Extra, which basically gives extra clarity to the images by having a 3D texture on the posters.
Wow.
Hanging the posters is also intuitive and fast, and Displate gives you all the tools you need. Wipe the wall, stick the protective leaf, stick the magnet to the leaf. I'm using a 3D one, but they also have it flat.
That's nice though for like, if you can get it off without damaging the wall. I don't know if this plate actually does that.
And that's it basically.
Took me like 4 minutes to set up 3
if you
posters.
like take it off.
There are over 2 million
like
artworks
renting.
available in the Displate catalog, and you can pick from original art or licensed design like Star Wars, Marvel, Elden Ring, or Dune. I wish I got that one actually.
You can also get them right now by going to displate.com/MikeShake or use my promo code MikeShake and you get a really nice discount.
I'm also leaving a link in the description if you want to check them out at the end of the video. Anyways, 5 hours later, the sanding was completed. Then I used an improvised buffing machine to polish the polycarbonate, and after grinding a little slot where I'm gonna attach the elastic bands, I finished the fork using linseed oil and wax. And here it is. I really like how it turned out. But maybe it's just because I made it. Kinda like my mom that likes me regardless. Well, for sure, it's better than the last one. It's also
That one was something else.
so pretty big. This is how it looks compared to a normal slingshot, but it should fit well the kind of power I'm going for. Alright, I'm gonna make the handle and the arm brace. And so I did it all over again for the arm brace, which luckily took much less compared to the fork, thanks to this simpler shape. And after sanding it, this is how it looks. Now the last element I need to make is the handle. Aside from smoothing out the edges, I'm trying to grind the handle to make it fit perfectly with my hand. So I keep grinding and testing it, then adjusting it based on how it feels. And after completing the rough shape, I spent a few hours sanding it by hand to smooth out the curves as much as possible. And as the last step, I'm applying the oil as I did with the previous elements. This is how the final handle looks, and I like it.
That looks clean, man. Handcrafted for his hand, just as God intended.
But most importantly, it feels very comfortable, and I can't wait to test this thing. Like that, all the elements are done. Now I can put them together with the main frame, and then I'm gonna test it against the targets. My custom slingshot increases the draw length compared to a normal one. Basically, how far I can stretch the bands before releasing them. And with more elastic mass, the power increases exponentially. So to connect all the elements together, I'm gonna use this steel profile. I need to cut it a little bit first. I'm not exactly sure how long should I make this frame though. The longer, the better, but I need to be able to use it. So I'm just measuring the distance between arm brace and handle, and based on that, I ended up using another profile I had in the shop. This one is exactly 1 meter, and if this version ends up being too weak, I'm gonna use the longer stick to make an even more extreme version. For that reason, I also want all the elements to be removable from the main frame. And so, to connect them to the frame, I thought about using steel brackets. I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it though. If I make it—
I don't know, man. I'd be scared it like breaks and slingshots back some shit for you.
a mistake, let me know right now, so that I can stop before this thing flies towards me when I test it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Alright, if I die, it's your fault. So I cleaned up the profile using the belt grinder, and then I sanded by hand, fixing the mistakes I made on the belt grinder. One day, I'm gonna learn how to use this thing.
It is not
But
on
today,
us, chat.
it's not that day. Anyways, this is how the steel profile ended up looking. Now, to connect the brackets to the frame, I'm drilling 3 holes of 5mm into the steel profile. Basically like this. After that, I can install the brackets, in which I'm gonna place the fork. I actually also mounted 2 brackets at the end of the steel
sanding
bar,
takes
so
a
that this
while.
way I can connect the arm brace to one end of the
Ask me how
profile
I know.
and the fork to the other. To do that though, I also need to drill a few holes into the elements. And this step is kinda scary, because the acrylic could shatter in the process, and that would mean starting from scratch.
Month 3 of Yerping Fox Smuggler Bark.
Yo, King Lemon, thank you for the 3 months.
So, to avoid that, I'm using a special bit that should work both with plastic and wood. Then I started drilling 3 holes into the fork. This process took me like 30 minutes. I went very, very slow to avoid damaging the layers. And I think it kinda worked.
That's
At this
smart.
point, I can insert the balls that I actually grinded to make them look nicer.
Clean.
And I also added 3 rubber spacers, since the back of the wood is not perfectly flat. And I hope this will help distribute the pressure. I think it works.
This is terrifying.
I believe it looks pretty good. But the best part is not even the look. What surprised me the most is how premium it feels, given who built it. It doesn't wobble at all, it doesn't make noises, and it feels very sturdy. Now I'm repeating the
someone with
process
it
to
right
install the
now.
arm brace, and this is how it looks on the profile. And seeing it like that makes me pretty confident this thing is gonna crush bones. Hopefully not mine. Anyways, only the handle is missing at this point. And I'm not exactly
these
sure
innuendos.
what's the best way to connect this one. And so, I'm doing the first thing I thought about. I'm drilling a big hole into the handle. And my plan
How long did that take? If the other one took 30 minutes and it was not as long, this one probably took like hours. No?
is to glue a steel rod into it, so that then I can easily mount it to the frame. To glue the rod, I'm using a fast drying glue that should work well with polycarb.
It farted.
That wasn't a crack, it was air coming out of the handle. Now there is
Okay,
one
thank
last
God.
detail I need to add to the handle. The bolts on the fork and the arm brace basically act as pins, providing extra strength to keep the layers together. And since the handle doesn't have
Oh,
those,
it's like a
I decided to
knife.
add 4 small bolts to it. They don't compromise the comfort, and this way I'm sure the layers are gonna stay together even if I drop it. And to mention the words of a wise German man I'm gonna introduce in a bit, it's not ugly, it's effective. And now I'm
German efficiency, man. It's not ugly. It is efficient.
Mounting the handle, using a piece of
Typical
leather
Germans.
to distribute the stress between
That's what they say about the BMW as well. Very efficient, but still very ugly.
the handle and the frame. And like that, the custom slingshot is ready. I really believe this could be up there with the most powerful slingshots in the world. But I guess I'm gonna find out soon when I test it. I don't know if I should be excited or scared.
Probably both.
I'm excited though. But the reason why I picked this design over some crazier ones ahead is pretty fascinating. It looks fairly simple, but this design should be the most powerful
Slingshot,
one you
man.
can make. Those, I decided to
the
add
hell was
4
that?
small bolts to it. They don't compromise the comfort, and this way I'm sure the light
What the hell was that? It like YouTube being YouTube, I guess. That was
the
weird.
stress between the handle and the frame. And like that, the custom slingshot is ready. I really believe this could be up there with the most powerful slingshots
I
in
didn't
the
do
world.
anything, I
I
swear.
guess I'm gonna find out soon when I test it. I don't know if I should be excited or scared. I'm excited though. But the reason why I picked this design over some crazier ones ahead is pretty fascinating. It looks fairly simple, but this design should be the most powerful one you can make for a handheld slingshot. And the reason why I know that is this man.
Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel.
Well, check
Of course he's German. Let's go!
in the comments in my previous slingshot video, I saw this one that threw me right into the rabbit hole that actually made me start this project. Jorg
Oh
is
my
a German god, right on top of the slingshot
Jorg.
food chain. And he said a word
He definitely sounds and looks like a York. Wouldn't you agree, chat? He's kind of a Giga Chad.
record of 135 joules with a 25mm steel ball. And just to clarify, 135 joules is closer to a small firearm in terms of power than it is to a normal slingshot. And since I don't have much
Wow.
experience with slingshots, and most importantly, I'm not German, I reached out to him.
It's over.
And he actually replied. Jorg gave me a lot of valuable information that allowed me to get to this point.
Oh,
And most
that is so sweet!
importantly, he made me realize that there is a serious risk involved in what I'm about to do. He also suggested me to scrap all my other designs, besides this one I built. And it's basically a new version of the Starship, which is the slingshot he used to
That is so sweet. He's like, be careful, my friend.
set the world record.
Jorg.
And so, now I can install the bands, and then I'm gonna test it. The size and the number of layers you need depends on the weight of the ammo you're using.
I don't think the mom would have liked watching these videos. His mom, I mean. It is terrifying.
Heavier ammo require more bands, which are much harder to pull, but they also generate more power. So to find out the dimensions of the bands I need for all the balls I'm gonna test, I'm using an equation that Jorg created. Basically, based on the weight of the ammo you use and the draw length, it tells you the dimension and the number of bands you need. And to find my draw length, I measure my draw length with a normal slingshot. Have no idea if this is the right way to do it. And I added the extra length of the frame. And with that, I got a total of 198 centimeters, which is a
That's
lot,
really
but I'm using a
long.
smaller one to be conservative. For maximum performance, bands also need to be tapered. Basically, they need to be larger towards the fork and smaller towards the pouch. This allows
Naturally.
the ammo to accelerate faster, and therefore increase the speed and the power. After that, I can attach
Wow.
the bands to the pouch. And the process is pretty straightforward, for the most part of it.
Excuse me? A little bit of spit. He's like, huh?
What? And here is how they look. At this point, I can attach the bands to the slingshot, and like that, the build is finally completed. And so now, there is only the fun and potentially lethal step left. Alright then, let's test it. Now, before risking my life with the massive balls, I wanna find out if my custom slingshot, well, if it works, and also if it's actually more powerful than the ones I tested in my old video. And so, I'm gonna gradually increase the dimension of the ammo and the number of bands. And I'm gonna measure energy,
He
penetration,
epoxied them,
and damage
man.
for each one of them. I feel like a juggernaut.
I
know
feel
you're probably
like a
thinking
police
it's
officer.
Maybe too much for this small ammo. I'm actually worried it's not gonna be enough. But I guess there is only one way to find out. And well, it turns out that this thing works pretty well.
125. That's
Wow.
fast.
Out of 5 shots, the best one I got is 130 meters a
That's
second,
really
or
fast,
426
bros.
feet per second. And if you consider that a 9mm bullet travels at around 1200 feet per second, that's a lot. So with the 8mm steel ball, the custom slingshot generates 1.6 times more energy than my best old one. This is the weakest setup I'm gonna test, and it already broke the catch box behind the wooden panel. I also tested a different brand of rubber, but I got very similar results. So now it's time for the second test with the 8mm ball. Penetration.
That's gonna lodge
and then my
yourself
first shot,
so
the ball
fast.
went on the side of the gelatin block. And I actually thought it was a fluke,
No.
because it went way too deep.
Oh, no way. Jeez.
But then when I tried again, the second shot was perfectly in the middle, and it went deeper than the first.
If we compare the penetration of my old slingshots compared to this one, this is insane.
The old slingshot
His old slingshots would bounce off of people's faces. They wouldn't really lodge themselves in.
are also not lethal with an 8mm ball.
But given this penetration, do you think it's gonna be lethal?
8mm
Yeah.
ball, test number 3, damage. And so I stretched the bands as much as I could, and I shot.
No way.
Ow.
At first, I thought the ball actually cracked the skull. But then I saw it.
It stopped.
The ball went into the gelatin, but it stopped on the skull.
Ew.
Let's keep it there. Also, what's wrong with your nose, man? Jeez, I didn't notice that.
Anyways,
What's wrong
this
with the
slingshot is
flat
already more
nose?
impressive than the ones I tested in my old video.
And this is literally the weakest possible setup I have for this one.
So,
Gulp.
I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen with the big balls. But in the meantime, these are all the results I got with the smallest one. Next, I'm shooting 10mm steel balls. And to shoot them, I'm gonna use a double layer setup. Basically, 2 bands per side. And I was expecting the 10mm balls to be significantly slower compared to the previous ones, but the speed actually didn't drop very much.
119.1.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Out of 5 shots, the best one I got was 124.4 meters a second, which gives it a big bump in terms of power. And my poor catch box knows something about it. Test number 2, penetration. So I was expecting bigger balls to have less penetration power. But
More power,
It almost
chat.
went through.
with a 10mm steel
Bigger balls, bigger damage, chat.
ball,
Don't forget
I got a
that.
penetration of 13.9 centimeters.
Before trying the ballistic dummy, I also want to shoot
Wow.
a few different targets.
This is not part of the official test, and I could
It's for
totally avoid
fun.
it, but I won't.
It's
So
fun.
I shot a watermelon. Then a coconut, which is pretty hard, but it still went straight through. And then a soda
I'm a
can.
coconut.
And at this point, I'm kind of thinking this
Waste of
might
Coke.
be lethal already.
All right. Nope. Wait, what is that?
Like a stick on there. What the hell?
That was.
Anticlimactic. I'm not exactly sure if he bounced on the bone or he just went straight there. Either way, I'm gonna try again, aiming at the forehead.
Come on, man. He hit the eye again.
Once again, perfectly inside
He got both
the eye.
eyes.
In the other one. Oh, come on.
He was aiming at the
I'm gonna try to hit it
forehead.
again.
There we
But
go.
once again,
That's
it didn't
closer.
crack.
So I think the balls were just bouncing off the bones.
Anyways, these are all the results I got for the 10mm steel balls.
And now it gets scary.
20mm lead balls. Like, these are the bands I just used, and these are the bands I'm gonna use now. 3
Ooh,
huge flat bands per
3.
side. And for this one, I also had to build a bigger pouch.
I'm scared. For the first time since I started testing this thing, now I'm actually scared.
As a disclaimer, I don't think this is wise, I don't think this is safe, and I don't think it's gonna be enjoyable.
Imagine some Italian farmer out in the middle of nowhere just finds you doing this slingshot test. Because he lives in the middle of nowhere in Italy, I think, right?
To use a monster like that.
Just shooting.
But I just wanna go for it. This is
Slingshot.
how it looks with the flat bands connected to it. And with that, I'm ready to try it. Kind of. And well, as expected, these bands are way harder to pull compared to the previous ones. But even though this setup highlights my poor technique, and the lead ball actively tried to kill me, it was actually working pretty well.
How much was that?
Wow.
57.9.
And that means
Slower.
79.3 joules of energy, which is a lot. Still, I wanted to keep trying for two reasons. First,
Oh, was
because
that
I
not
know
the
I
speed?
can't top my previous speed. I just need to develop a slightly decent technique and build up confidence. And second, because I'm kinda loving the distraction this thing is able to generate. And I
Bubbly.
can't wait to test it against the targets. But then, I made a mistake. Somebody said that if you run when you can't walk, you'll probably fall. And that was the sound of the steel ball hitting the fork.
I broke it.
No!
I broke the fork. That's a bad one.
This has been a very
Oh no, he has to redo it. No, it took forever to make,
fortunate
man.
turn of events. I got an allergy reaction. It's pouring and it wasn't even supposed to rain. My slingshot broke.
Oh.
On the other side though, I'm still alive. And most importantly though, the polycarbonate is very tough indeed. It doesn't even have a scratch on it.
And so I found a temporary fix so that I can keep using it. You know, it is what it is. It just lived long enough to become the villain.
So I'm gonna just wait for
Did anyone else just see that? Hold on. What the hell was that? Wait, what? I thought I had a
the
stroke.
sun.
What it is. It just lived long enough to become the villain.
So I'm gonna just wait for
Him? Who? What? Who was that? Two-Face? Oh. Wait. Come on, go back. Come on. Stop fucking caps locking. I read it the first time. Wait. Come on. Oh my god.
To become the villain.
So I'm gonna just wait for the sun and then I'm gonna finish the test. How's it going guys? Today's tomorrow and sun shines. Now you know why that happened.
By
Wow.
watching the slow motion of the incident, I realized that I pushed down my hand right before releasing the pouch. And well, I just gotta try avoid doing that again. I also just built a much deeper armrest, since the helmet sticking out made it kinda hard to stretch the bands comfortably.
Alright then. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna just try to stretch this as much as I can. So if you hear weird noises, that's why.
And so I wanted to measure the energy once again, and after shooting at the target a few times, I actually topped the previous result.
59.6! 59.6! Yes, that's better!
That is 84.1
happy!
joules. That's good, depending on which side
I
you
love
play
this
for.
guy.
I think
So
I could actually
passionate.
get more than that with a better technique and more practice. But I'll take it. Let's do the penetration test.
For this test, and also the next ones, I'm gonna be using the black bands. The yellow ones keep breaking, and this
Yeah.
perform as well while being more durable.
It kinda just
I
sound
also
like
removed
Link.
the wood and the acrylic from the back of the fork, and I installed the new brackets.
Do you think it's gonna go more or less in than the small ones?
Well, none of that happened.
Oh my god! Did you see
Oh
that?
shit!
Jeez! This was the best investment ever!
Yeah, I was
The
about
ammo
to say.
basically bounced on the surface of the gelatin and
No! Wait, that was
came
perfect!
flying back towards me.
Ooh!
That would have hurt. Anyways, before shooting the ballistic dummy, I tested the damage against a few targets. And I missed the first shot, throwing the ball in the air, and I have no idea where it went.
Herm.
But with the second shot, I got it. So
Nice.
it's time for the final test. Damage. And I really have no idea what to expect.
Big
But I
damage.
guess,
Hold on.
let's find out.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, it's in there.
Let
No
me show
sh-
you. You went through the nose.
Oh,
And it cracked the bomb below it.
You see that? Ready?
So then I
Oh
shot
my
again,
God.
trying to aim a little higher.
Ouch.
And once again, the
Yeah, they used slingshots in the medieval days, man. Yeah, I believe it. I'm sure with I mean, if you got proper medical treatment, I'm sure you'd be okay. But back in the day, yeah. Not slingshots, but slings. I mean, the principle is literally the same. You're flinging like balls and rocks at people.
The ammo penetrated, and it shattered the bone around the eye.
So I want to try to shoot another one on the forehead and see what happens.
Dodge this.
Well, this time, I actually hit the forehead.
Oh my.
So, I guess this thing is very dangerous. That was my honest reaction while that thing was filling up. Nothing. I did
Hematoma.
nothing. Now that the liquid is gone, it's pretty
Hematoma.
clear to see what happened. The ammo went straight through the forehead, and it actually almost came out from the back of the head. These are all the results for the 20mm lead ball.
And so, to answer the question, how dangerous is a slingshot? I guess it depends on the slingshot.
I'm gonna fix this slingshot and paint it, and I'll post the final version on Instagram. Follow me there if you wanna see it, along with updates on the next videos. I'm gonna keep making cool things like this one, so if you like this video, consider subscribing and check another one.
Yay! Yay! What a good video. I love this guy. Very nice. Very cool. Give him a like. Subscribe. If you like his content. Yeah, I like seeing what kind of things he makes into weapons. His last one we watched, it was the invisible katana, and it was really cool. And he always manages to have it break, but he usually salvages it somehow. Yeah. Yeah.